Hello, my name is JoJo. Welcome to your gentle yoga class. It's an hour long, and I hesitate to say restorative because it's more than a few poses. You know, in a restorative class, there may only be like 5 poses. So this is just a really gentle, kind of a deep stretch. And there will be some active and passive stretching. But we'll stay low to the ground, so we're not gonna get on our feet. And for this class, you will need a strap. So this is a yoga strap. If you don't have one, you might notice it looks pretty similar to a dog leash. You could use a dog leash. I've also done a lot of at-home yoga using my bathrobe tie as my strap. So that is nifty as well, or a long sort of belt. So you'll need some strap, some version of a strap, and you can have any other props that you would like. I don't really own a lot of props, and I probably should, but so you could use, if you've got like a blanket or even a towel that you want to roll up, that might be useful later on as a little bit of support or cushion. If you've got a nice pillow or even like a couch cushion, that could stand in for a bolster. Yeah, so make your way to your mat or the floor and have your strap handy. We're gonna start today in a position lying back on your back. This is called your Shavasana, your corpse pose. So lie down on your back and let your heels root into the floor, let your feet just kind of flop. Rest your arms loosely by your sides with your palms turned up. Let your shoulders come away from your ears. Let your body rest. This is already an opportunity if you've got a bolster or blanket that you would like to use to explore, maybe propping up your knees with a bolster, a pillow, something like that. You could cover yourself up with a blanket, or you could take that rolled up towel or blanket maybe under your head to support your neck. Find a spot where you're going to be comfortable here for a few minutes. And once you find that spot where your physical body can start to relax and be comfortable, you can let tension or effort start to melt away. Then you can bring your focus inward even further and start to come into your breath and focus on your breath, moving through your belly and chest. Let your throat and your shoulders get out of the way of your breath a little bit here, and let the breath fall deep to your chest and belly. And you might want to take even some extra kind of open mouth sighs a few times. If that feels good, you can let that relax you. Know that any poses that I offer today are just suggestions, and there's always room for modification, and there's always room for saying this pose isn't for me and just coming back to a rest. So your neutral rest, whether that's just sitting up in a neutral seat, or whether it's coming here to your Shavasana, your corpse pose, you're lying down on the ground, that's great. That's totally available to you. And anything that I offer is just an offer. So speaking of offers, I like to offer an intention at the beginning of my yoga classes. And if you've already got maybe like a dedication for your practice, then you can tune me out and just focus on your intention for a few breaths. Today I'll offer the intention of kind of finding enjoyment in the simple things and just getting back to basics. So if you're, taking this class at home, maybe that means, 2020, it's been kind of the year of staying home, maybe being in quarantine. So it can be really important to acknowledge yourself for coming to your mat, because it's really not an easy thing to do. By the way, you can always practice yoga without a mat on the floor, maybe a carpeted surface. So it doesn't even take any fancy schmancy, props or anything. You can use your dog leash, you can use your beach towel. But it's really awesome to be able to get the benefits of your yoga practice. So we're just gonna let those sink in and kind of give yourself some congratulations for even coming to your yoga practice today. So from this position on your back, we'll stay here for a little while. But find an extension with your whole body. Point your toes and lift your arms up and over your head. Find a big, long body stretch. You could grab a hold of one hand with the other or one wrist with the other hand. And then take your toes, point them over to the left, move your legs so they point off to the left, and take your arms up and over your head. You could even shift your position of your shoulders a little bit. Move your arms up and over to the left, so you're making a big crescent moon kind of a shape. Find some extra length through your left side. You could keep holding on to one wrist. You can even link your toes together if that feels good. Avoid rolling over onto your side here. Keep your face pointing up, both shoulders equally rooting down. Focus on just finding length through your side body. This is your Banana Asana. I love the name of this pose. It reminds me to have a little bit of light and humor in my practice. Make yourself into a nice, beautiful yellow banana here. Feel your rib cage slowly blossoming open. Invite some more length into all the little intercostal muscles between your ribs, creating some more space for your lungs to breathe you deeply. On your next inhale, walk your feet, your hands back through the center, take your long body stretch, and then make your banana over to the other side. And give your other side some length and some space. Take note of where you feel your breath here in your Banana Asana. As you create more space over on your side, that side may feel the movement of your breath even more, or maybe not. Take note. Where do you feel your breath moving you, rising and falling? And move yourself back through the center into your long body stretch. And then take your knees in toward you. Give yourself a hug, a big loving hug. Pull your knees in. Maybe you want to rock a little side to side. That's great. Or maybe not. Maybe stillness is your jam right now. That's fine too. let your knees rock all the way over to your left side. They could fall to the left. If it's comfortable, you can have one knee stack on top of the other. If that's not comfortable, you could allow your top leg maybe to straighten out a little more, or explore maybe your bottom leg straightens out a little more. And if you've got a bolster, you could move it in between your legs here if it's uncomfortable to have your legs close together. That might be a nice adjustment for your hips. And let your shoulders roll open, let your right shoulder roll down toward the ground. It's okay if it doesn't reach. If you've got like a folded blanket or towel, you could slide that under your shoulder to bring the ground a little closer to your shoulder. Rest here in this twisted position, and again, take note of where you feel your breath. It may feel a little different as you wring yourself out like a towel and you twist. You have the option to turn your face over to the right to accentuate the twist through your neck as well. If that's uncomfortable, back off, turn your head back through the center. Roll both hips back onto the ground. You can take your feet to the floor. Maybe you swish your knees side to side a few times. Then roll over to the other side. Maybe you bump your hips a little further over to the left before you take your knees down to the right. If you've got a bolster, maybe that never left, you could keep it in between your legs. If you've got a blanket, that might move over to the other shoulder. You could take your arms in this kind of cactus shape with your elbows bent, or you could take your arms out wide. Just let that shoulder blossom open like a flower. Option to turn your face if it feels good on your neck, to extend the side of your neck. If not, then turn your head to center. Roll yourself back onto your back, both hips coming into line. Maybe you swipe your knees side to side a few times if that feels good on your low back. Now plant your feet down onto the ground, your knees bent. Let your arms rest by your sides with your palms facing down. On your inhale, start to push into your feet. Tip your knees over your ankles. Lift your hips up off the floor. Your hip creases open up towards the ceiling. Then take your arms, reach up towards the ceiling, all the way up over your head. Now breathe here. Take one more inhale. And then on your next exhale, let your hips start to melt down toward the floor and your arms come up to the ceiling, then all the way down. And let your hands and your pelvis touch the ground down at the same time. I'm finding a little flow. Inhale, lift your pelvis, lift your arms. And exhale, drop your hips, drop your arms. Your hands coming down by your hips. Inhale, lift. And exhale, lower. Now your glutes are definitely going to be involved here, but you want to make sure that you're also sending some of it into your quads and not solely relying on your glutes to pinch. So strengthen your quads, your legs, and your glutes, and lift. And on your exhale, lower. Take 2 more rounds. Inhale to lift. And exhale to lower. Last time. Inhale, lift. And exhale, lower. And drop it all the way down. You can windshield wiper your knees side to side. You can hug your knees in or stretch long, whatever feels best. to a seated position. You can either start to rock and roll the length of your spine and rock yourself up, or if that's not comfortable, you can turn to one side like a fetal position and then use your hands and push yourself up. Do whatever feels best to make your way into your seat. And when you reach your seat, keep your knees bent and the soles of your feet on the ground. And just find your sits bones really rooting down, strong into the floor. Lengthen your spine, sit up tall. You can grab onto your legs. Make sure your feet are about hip width distance apart. And take your hands back behind you, lean back. Lift your right foot and cross your right ankle over your left thigh. Now for more sensation, you can scoot your foot in closer, maybe even walk your hands up so you close off the distance between your torso and your legs. For less sensation, if that's overwhelming, you walk your foot back out and increase the distance between your chest and your legs. It might feel nice to take a little sway side to side here. That's great. It's also great if you prefer your stillness. No worries there. If you're rocking, just come back to your stillness. Then walk your left foot across your body, over to your right side. As your leg goes, start to tip yourself forward again and come back to your sits bones. Slide your top foot so it lines up with your bottom thigh for your fire log pose. Now this is a deep hip opener. So your knee might not come down all the way so your shins can be parallel, that's fine. It might help you here if you've got a bolster or if you've got a blanket, prop yourself up on that blanket or that bolster. So as your hips come further away from the floor, that might give your knees some more room and your hips some more room to blossom open. And let yourself just melt into this. It can be tricky if your body finds something to be extreme, that it might register it as danger. So tune in, see if you can feel your heart beating. Just tell your nervous system it's okay, there's no danger here. Keep on breathing deep and slow. And just take some calming breaths. There's no danger here. And if this pose absolutely is not for you or it gets to be overwhelming, that's fine. You could always take a cross-legged position and just make sure you register which leg crosses in front so that when we get the other side, you can even out. There's no shame in listening to your body and finding what works for you. It's something to be celebrated, to have that communication with your body. The hips are working, doing really good work here to release and roll open. We're gonna add some shoulders rolling open. So grab a hold of your strap or your strap-like leash, your strap-like belt, your strap-like robe tie. Just give yourself enough room of it so that you can have your hands one on either side of it, so they're pretty wide apart, a bit wider than shoulder width distance. And you can just let the tails just kind of dangle down. We're gonna floss out the shoulders. So on your inhale, lift up like you're doing the YMCA. Your arms are in a Y shape. They may even come a little further back. You're not trying to go all the way back. And on your exhale, your arms come right back down. And inhale to lift. And exhale to lower. Getting some gentle rolling through the shoulders, lubricating the joints in the shoulders. You might start to feel some slow, small heat creeping through your shoulders, and it might happen in your hips too, your glutes as you're sitting here. And that is totally fine, totally normal. Some tingles, some heat, that's all good. If there's sharpness, discomfort, or pain that's more sharp, then just find a different option and let it go. You want to avoid sharp pain, but the sort of dull heat of a good stretch, there's a difference, right? So find your good stretch, maybe strengthening through your shoulders, and avoid any sharp pain. You may even feel some little crackles. I know I just had a shoulder pop just now, but in a good way. Let your flossing go and you can relax and just take your strap maybe off to one side. Not too far away. You want it within your reach. Now you're going to lean back, unwind your legs. You can stretch them out in front of you. If it feels good, you can kick them out or roll them out. Roll out or shake out, whatever needs it. Again, if you feel some tingles or some heat moving up your legs, your hips, that's all right, totally normal. There's no danger here. As long as you are listening to your body, then there's no danger. So grab a hold of your strap again and make yourself a little loop in your strap that's big enough to wrap around a foot. Flex your feet and hold your strap in your left hand and wrap the loop around your right foot. Now bend your knee so your foot comes in a little closer to you. Take your right fingertips, you can gently rest them back behind you. Keep a long, tall spine. Start to lift your right foot up off the floor. And kick out to straighten your leg. It may not go perfectly straight, that's fine. Then twist your chest open off to the right. Find some extra length and sensation through the outside of your right foot. You could adjust your grip to find your optimal stretch. Maybe you want to experiment with pointing your toes versus flexing your toes. And if you've got a bend, hey, that's fine. Continue to pull your knee in. You'll get a slightly different stretch, but it's still a great stretch, doing great work. Let it go. Take your foot back to the floor. Unwind your twist and take your strap away from your foot. Take it off to the side, but not too far away. Bend your knees and plant your feet on the ground. Cross your left ankle over your right thigh, lean back to support yourself with your hands for your seated figure four. Flex your top foot and roll your hip open so your knee travels out wide. For more sensation, close the distance. For less sensation, widen it out. Maybe you want a little sway, that's great. Maybe you want stillness, that's great too. If you're swaying, come back to your stillness. Walk your right foot across the mat over to the opposite side. Tip yourself forward and come to your seat. You could find your bolster, find your blanket, and slide it under your hips to raise yourself up. Take your top foot and line it up with your bottom thigh. Your shins might come parallel or not quite parallel, that's fine. If this pose is not happening for you today, that's okay. You can cross your legs. Make sure it's the opposite leg from last time being on top. Widen out your seat so you can feel your sits bones coming down to the floor or to your bolster or blanket. Reach for your strap. Take one end in each hand. Nice width for you to floss out your shoulders. Inhale, arms come up and over. And exhale, roll them back down. Inhale, lift. And exhale, lower. So you're finding a flow with your breath. Take it easy, take it slow. Go at your own pace. Let this be your last floss of your shoulders. And take your strap off to the side, not too far away. Keep it close by. Lean back onto your hands, unwind your legs, extend them out in front of you, shake out or roll out, whatever needs it. Now take that strap again and create a loop that is big enough for a foot. Hold your strap in your right hand and hook it around your left foot. And twist. Take your hand behind you. And you can gently rest your fingertips on the ground. Also, if you've got something like a block or a bolster that takes your hand a little further up so the floor kind of rises a little bit, that could be nice. You can experiment. Find your twist and then pull your leg up off the ground. You could bend it and kick it out. You could play with pointing and flexing your feet. Might feel more rooted on your bottom leg, one way or the other. You can adjust your grip on your strap if you want to go deeper or you want to back off the sensation. Experiment. So deeper sensation is probably a shorter grip on your strap. For less, it's a little longer grip on your strap. Take another breath in. On your exhale, slowly bring your foot down. Lean forward and unwind your twist. Now take your strap around both of your soles of your feet. And take one side in either hand. And now lift up with your spine. So you've got long, tall spine. Your heels stay rooted down. This is where you're going to want your feet to be flexed. The balls of your feet have got the strap around them. And you're pressing your heels down and forward. You could stay here. You can bend your elbows. You can find a little fold. It's okay to have some softness in your knees here. If you want more sensation of opening in your low back, then you might find that bend in your knees. If you want more sensation in the backs of your legs, And you might let that be a smaller bend, maybe even a little tiny micro bend to straighten out your knees for some more sensation in the backs of your legs, your hamstrings. And continue to breathe. Take note of where you feel your breath here. See if you can let your back body relax, the back of your neck relax, turn your gaze down. Now take your strap and move it off of your right foot. Take it just around your left foot. Give yourself some room and take both tails of your strap, move them off to the side. Now bend your right knee, bring the sole of your foot down. Pull your knee in. Slide both shoulders to the inside of your right knee and grab a hold of your strap with both hands. Hug your knee toward the outside of your shoulder. Release, come back up, give yourself some length in the strap. Now roll your right knee open. Bring the sole of your foot in, pull your heel in towards your groin. Externally rotate through your right hip. Then take that strap again. Use that as your anchor to fold. Flex your left foot. Give yourself some more room in your strap and walk yourself back up. Then go ahead and take your strap away from your foot. And extend both your legs out in front of you. Shake out or roll out, whatever needs it. Now take the strap over to the other side. Hook it around your right foot. You can hold on loosely with your right hand just for a moment. Use your left hand, pull your knee in, and plant the sole of your foot down. Now swing both shoulders around so they come to the inside of your leg. And hook onto your strap with both hands. You could take your one side in each hand, or you could bring them together. Nestle your knee in towards the outside of your shoulder. Give yourself some more room in your strap to come all the way up and let your leg fall open. Pull your heel in towards your groin. Adjust so you've got both sits bones down on the ground. Then hang onto that strap for your head to knee fold. Turn your gaze down. yourself some more room. Come all the way up. And go ahead and take your strap away from your foot. Extend both legs out in front of you. Roll out or shake out, whatever needs it. And bend both your knees, plant your feet, and take your hands behind you, tip back. Rock some weight into your hands. Lift your hips away from the floor. Rock your knees over your ankles. Open up your chest towards the ceiling. And stretch your hip creases out. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Give yourself a squeeze. Hug your legs in toward you. You can let your head drop towards your knees. Wrap your arms around your shins or knees. Lift your head away from your knees, come up to your tall spine. Maybe you want to windshield wiper your knees side to side. That's fine. Find some movement if it feels good. Developing that perfect communication with your body. What's your body craving right now? And find your strap. Come to a seated position. And make your way onto your knees in kneeling position. And take some gentle cat-cows. So on your inhale, pull your chest out in between your arms, look up and out. Exhale, and tuck your chin towards your chest, round your back. Flow with your breath, inhaling and exhaling. Let this be your last time through. Then the next time that you inhale, come back to your neutral spine. Tip yourself over onto your left hip. So you've got your legs traveling off to the right. Then release your right leg, so your foot's on the ground. Walk your foot across, over to the other side. And pull your heel in. Relax that, let it go. Come back to your deer pose with both legs swirling around you, off to the side. Now take your other foot, so your left foot. Release it so it's away from your other leg, so it's not underneath. And draw that heel up and in towards your hip crease. Now take your strap, make a little loop, and cross your arm behind you. Loop your strap around your top foot, then reach back around with your left hand and grab on to that strap. You can take your right hand to the floor, to your knee, to your thigh, and this is your twist. So if you can see this foot that's stacked on the hip crease and my back hand coming around are connected by that strap. Sit down through your left side of your seat. Roll your shoulder open. You can give yourself a lot of room in your strap if that feels good. Or you can give yourself less. Give yourself lots of room to release. Take your strap away from your foot. Move it off to the side. Drop your foot away from your hip crease. Rock over onto your left hip. All the way over. You can use your left hand. And extend your right leg out behind you. Then roll back so that both hip creases face toward the floor into your half pigeon. If this pose causes any discomfort in the knees or the joints, you could make your way back to your seated figure 4 and cross your left ankle over and repeat that. If you're facing the ground, you could maybe find a little rock side to side if that feels good. You can play with bending your elbows and lowering down. Keep your hips both facing the same direction. You've got the option here to add a stretch in your quad, in your back quad. So if you're wanting to take that quad stretch, then come onto your hands, bend your back knee to lift your foot so your toes point up to the air. Now grab a hold of your strap, make a loop, and put that loop around your foot. Then pull your foot in so your heel comes in towards your glute. Use your right hand to pull it back. You can use your strap like a little backpack and pull it up and over your shoulder if that feels good. Now at any point, if you feel something that is too tight, that is a sharp pain, back off, release it, find a different option. No need to force yourself, just listen to your body. If you've got your strap around your foot, let it go. Drop the foot down. If you're facing the ground, roll over onto your hip, onto your side, and pull your legs together, coming back to your deer pose. And then sweep your legs in front of you and give your knees a hug for your humble yogi. And if you're in your figure 4, come back, find your humble yogi, curl up, give your knees a squeeze. And then rock yourself over onto your right hip. Let your legs travel off to the side, over on your left side for your deer pose. Now just passing through for a little counter stretch. Take your left foot to the floor, walk it across. Find that sort of squeeze in. Maybe it's a fire log pose with your legs stacked, or maybe it's here with one foot on the ground. And walk it back around, find your deer pose again. Make sure that you've got room for your right foot to come up and over. Now take your right foot up and hook it so your heel is pulling in towards your hip crease. You can adjust, make sure you're sitting down to your right hip. Grab onto your strap. So you'll loop the strap around your top foot. Then take that right arm back and around and guide the tails of your strap into your right hand. And it could be very long or it could be short. It's all up to you. So I'm going to turn and see how my foot coming around and my hands coming back and behind are connected by the strap. Left hand can come anywhere that feels best. To the floor, if you got a block or a bolster, to that, to one knee or the other. Unwind, release your strap away from your foot. Take it off to the side. Lean over onto your right hip. Right hand comes down. And send your left leg long out behind you. Stretch it out and roll so that both hip creases point toward the ground for your half pigeon. Again, you could come to a seated position and take your figure four again if this half pigeon is uncomfortable. Make sure both your hip creases point in the same direction. You could experiment with walking your hands out and coming down a little further if that feels good. You have the option to add a quad stretch here. Come to your hands and bend your back knee so your toes point up. Find your strap. Create a little hook to hook around your foot. And take the tails of your strap in your hand, pulling your heel in towards your glute. You could use your strap like a little backpack over your shoulder, or you could reach back with a straight arm. There's no danger here. And remember, anything that's uncomfortable, let it go. Let it go, no forcing. Just listening to your body. Getting that quad stretch, release your grip, take your strap off to the side, release your foot down, and tip over onto your side, come back to your deer pose, and then sweep your legs all the way around. If you're in your figure four, bend your knees, come up, give yourself a big hug, find your humble yogi. You can tip your head down towards your knees, stretch out your upper back, the back of your neck. And come up. Now roll yourself down to your back. When you reach your back, let your legs float into the air for legs up the wall. If you're at home and you've got a wall nearby, you could scoot closer to your wall so that your heels rest on the wall. Or if you've got a ledge like this or a chair, you could bend your knees and let your feet and your lower legs rest on the chair. If you've got a bolster or block and you want to take supported legs up the wall, you could slide it under your pelvis. I'm going to demonstrate with my fists. So you slide it under like this, like you're doing your bridge, and then rest on top of that and lift your legs. Or you could stay here on the floor with no block, that's fine too. Let your legs float up, flex your feet, and let any toxins, anything that doesn't serve you, just flow out through the bottoms of your feet, out, up your legs, out and away. You may feel a little tingle, maybe even get a little shaky in your legs, and that is okay. You can embrace the shake, embrace the tingle. Let your back rest, your shoulders roll open. When you're ready, no rush. Bend your knees, pull them in. If you're up against a wall, you can move away from the wall, or if you're up against a chair, move away. Pull your knees in toward you, give them a squeeze. One last hug of gratitude. Thank yourself for coming to your mat today. And find your way back to your Shavasana, corpse pose. Resting on the ground. Extend your legs. Rest your heels, let your feet flop open. Rest your arms by your sides with your palms facing up. Take any variation that makes you feel comfortable. So if you've got a blanket or a bolster, you could prop up your knees or your head and find your final resting pose, where we let all of the benefits of the practice absorb without any judgment on how it has gone. Let your body rest and reset, absorbing all of the benefits of your practice. Let your mind slow. Let your breath slow. Relax your mind, your body, your energy. Either shut your eyes here or just turn your gaze down toward the tip of your nose. Turn your attention inward to your body on your mat. We're going to be here for several minutes, so get comfortable and relax. Without opening your eyes, just start to bring your awareness back. For your last few moments of Shavasana, I'd like to offer some nice simple words of wisdom. It is the sweet, simple things of life which are the real ones after all. As you begin to come back to the space around you, celebrate that you are alive, that your body can move, can feel. And that you've made it to your mat today. Start to awaken some sensations, some small movements in your fingers, your toes. Slowly coming back to the wonderful bright world around you. And give thanks. Let that brightness, that light start to emanate from you. As you bring some more movements back, you wiggle out, you roll your ankles, your wrists. Let your light grow and shine. Extend your arms over your head, take a long body stretch. And hug your knees to your chest. Make your way into a comfortable seat. You can either tip over, maybe use your hands to press up, or you can rock and roll the length of your spine. Any way that makes sense to your body, make your way up. When you find your comfortable seat, and that might include sitting on a bolster or blanket. When you find that seat, sit up tall. Bring your palms to touch and plug your thumbs into your sternum. Bring your hands to prayer at heart center. Shut your eyes or look down. We end every yoga class with a simple acknowledgement of all the light that surrounds us. The light and love in me honors the light and love in you. Namaste.